Nerds. Welcome to Gutter. My name is Steve-O, host of the Gutter Nerds podcast. Joining me today is Corporate Cal. Hello. And Alex.
Hey, everyone.
He's back for more.
Yeah.
We're going to punish that body. We're going to punish it. And now we can punish it.
Because we
look, we're wireless.
Look, we can have a dance
move
party.
around.
Yeah.
We can move around and dance.
Yeah, dance party.
Dude, throw a Sex Panther in there. So today we're going to be talking about the differences. We're going to compare and contrast a little bit Western RPGs and JRPGs. And some of the chat is that is a dude with epic hair. I'm guess talking about Alex.
Yeah,
because it ain't Cal.
Yeah, it ain't me. I don't know. Thanks, guys. I have so much good hair. You're always looking out there, aren't you, buddy?
And so I'm going to get you guys' input as well, and as well as we discuss. So first of all, what you been playing, Cal? What you been playing, buddy?
I've been in the mixture of I played a little ranked League of Legends, been playing that, and wanted to throw my face into the wall. And also, I downloaded this new game. It's got like 25 million-ish players downloaded. It's called Apex Legends. Have you guys heard of this game?
I've heard of Apex
Legends.
Legends.
It's a really cool little battle royale game. And really cool. It's free. Wow.
It is free as shit.
And the graphics are disgusting. It actually is really pretty. It's a pretty game.
Okay, in the disgusting in a good way.
Yeah. And it's like oh shit, bro, like that shit's disgusting, man. It's like, what's up? Like,
here's the thing about I spent time with Apex Legends. If you guys have spent time with Apex Legends, tell me what you think. I spent time with it last Friday.
I've only played it like 4 times, but I first downloaded it and I was like, oh shit.
Did you play any Apex Legends?
I haven't yet. I downloaded it last night, though.
Okay. So here's sort of my quick take on it. It is a free battle royale that is grown up, and it's basically to me it's basically everything I've ever wanted in a BR. So
right.
It runs smoother than PUBG.
Yep.
It's more grown up than Fortnite.
Yep. More building shit.
Someone on Twitter said, "Why do you like Apex Legends and not Fortnite?" And their response was, "Whenever I shoot someone, they don't turn into an 8-story building."
Yes.
Exactly.
And so like that. And not to say that Fortnite is bad or anything like that.
No, it's one of the most grossing games ever. It's great.
It's just that
not my favorite.
I don't like the building stuff.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I applaud the people that do love it.
But I love PUBG because it was like tactical and slower paced, and this is quicker paced than PUBG.
It is.
But it's also, but the reason I prefer this to Blackout is because Blackout costs $60 and Apex Legends is free.
Yep. And what I like about
$60 for that? Really?
Oh yeah. Isn't that Activision?
Yeah. It is.
We'll talk about Activision. I really like it also because it's like your mixture of Call of Duty, Fortnite, and of course battle of Players Unknown Battleground, like you just said. But you have the sliding mechanism, you have the teamwork, and it's only 3-man teams. 3-man teams. You have like it's super fun. I like it right now. Yeah, so that's what I'm playing.
They don't have. It says check my mic. How about now? Is it good?
How about?
Tell me. Oh, it just says I love it. She loves Apex Legend. Just won her first game before this. Congratulations.
All right. Congratulations. You are a victor.
So they are supposed to be rolling out solos and duos pretty soon. So I appreciate that because Sam and I were trying to duo and we couldn't. It kept throwing us to the random.
Yep. It's only 3-man squads and there's not 4-man, so 3-man teams.
Right. But you can bring people back, but you have to get their banner, and take it to a station to bring them back.
Okay.
So if like you get swarmed by people and you have to GTFO, you have to go back to get them basically. You know what I mean? It's not easy to reincarnate someone.
Yes. Cool.
The weapon tiers. There's a weapon tier system.
I don't know it yet.
Which is fine. I personally just prefer weapons to be as opposed to having different tiers and rankings.
Scaling and rankings. Yeah.
But also areas have different tiers in them. So this area features like the high tier weapons, and so there's a plus and downside to that. One is that if that's like really the only place that you can get those high tiered weapons, that's kind of a bummer. I would like a little bit more randomized. But at the same time, it's going to sort of create a focal point where like we're gonna eliminate a bunch of people off the bat trying to get like, oh, high tier loot has been a lie to me. I've been playing Apex, RDR2, and Monster Hunter World lately. I got into Monster Hunter World. That's what I've been playing.
Nice.
I got into Monster Hunter World on Friday.
I wanted to get into Kingdom Hearts 3, but I still haven't opened the shrink rack.
Why?
What?
I've been busy with life, working my dick off.
That's
I'm
understandable.
so sorry.
Yeah. And then like trying to have fun and be social, come do things with my friends. So, you know, so as opposed to like being at home and like being by myself, I'm out with my buddies and my friends doing stuff.
What have you been playing, Alex?
Well, yeah, I picked up Kingdom Hearts the day of. Been playing that. Also, Overwatch. That's always my side game.
Yeah.
And
So no matter what you're playing, you always have Overwatch in the rotation.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
being late.
Right. Yeah.
It's like a side bitch.
So you would go competitive League,
Oh, absolutely.
and you would go competitive Overwatch, right?
Yeah.
Like just sort of always sort of practicing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been practicing more Realm Royale
I don't have
with Raven 1. It's free.
If you enjoy it, I'm happy for
It's I don't think you're gonna like it more than Apex Legends, but but it's more of the fantasy thing. So Overwatch and what else?
Kingdom Hearts. Downloaded a few new indie games.
Which ones did you download?
So I downloaded Into the Breach, which is made by the same guys who did Faster Than Light. It's really cool. It's a tactics game, and you are
The spaceship one, right?
Yeah.
FTL.
Yeah, Faster
Yeah.
Than Light is the spaceship one, and then Into the Breach is a more military time travel game, and basically you are sent in the past to try to stop the enemy from taking over that timeline, and if you screw up, you can just hit the reset button and you
very
just
cool.
jump to a new timeline.
Oh, Dotus. Hello. Oh, hello and good night, Dotus. Thanks for coming by. Hi and bye. Please don't freeze to death.
Hello.
Hey, Raven 1. How's it going?
Hello.
So Raven and I have been playing some Realm, and
Has he been teaching you a trick or two?
he's taught me a trick or two, and we've won a couple.
Wow.
So
right.
I feel like we've got a
How heavy was he? Raven, tell me how heavy Steven was. I need to know.
on the carry. Is
On
that
the
your
carry, that's
question?
right, 'cause I know you carried him to victory. I need to know how heavy he was. Jesus.
Yeah. Also, guys, please keep us updated. So we're using new mics tonight, so I want to periodically remind you to please point out anybody that needs to come up or down if there is an issue with a mic. So, I've had heavier. Thank you, Raven 1.
Oh, the nice brother.
He's talking about Mark.
Oh.
Calling me out, Mark.
Damn. Savage.
Okay, so let's get into some RPG talk.
All right.
It's my favorite.
So I'm going to start, and I want to ask you guys, Rave None. So you guys in chat, you guys here.
Yeah.
Here's a question I'm going to start you guys with.
Let's do it.
What is your favorite RPG title? Not franchise, title. Of all time, and why?
I'll start this one off.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy VIII. Specifically.
Okay,
I love
so
7, of
why,
course.
Why 8?
8, just the aspects of the game. It was one of the first ones I fully played through. It's definitely the first one I fully played through, and that is just, to me,
That junction draw system's kind of a piece of shit, though.
it is kind of a piece of shit. But at the same time, if you know how to figure it out and you know the system with Triple Triad, you're golden.
The game does a really bad job of explaining how to do it,
It
though.
does.
So I totally get why you like it, and I totally get why people like 8. But the game, like I'm playing the game, and it's like, okay, hold on, before you fight, we wrote you a book. Would you like to read the book? And I'm like, no. Get out of my face. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know how to junction or draw or shit.
Yep.
Because I didn't read the book.
And then you miss Guardian Forces and everything.
I miss all
because
sorts
of
of
it.
shit.
So what I recommend doing, if you feel that way about Final Fantasy VIII, play the game with a study guide, or not study guide, with a guide open, because it helps you kind of learn that system a little bit better. And that's where my second playthrough, I was doing that, and I'm getting all the cards that you want, and that are useful later in the game, and and Triple Triad's just fun. And if you fuck up Triple Triad, you just reset that shit.
Triple Triad
It's one of the
that's
best
one where
card
you have,
games.
it's like a 3x3 grid, and you place cards, and when you place a card next to one, they basically battle.
And they flip.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Yeah, Triple Triad's awesome.
Yeah, Triple Triad's good. Jump in chat real quick. See, JB says Paper Mario. Why
a
is
good one.
Paper Mario your favorite RPG?
And that was
And Raven 1, Final Fantasy X. Again,
Yeah.
why? I'm gonna guess narrative. I'm gonna guess narrative for
I think he just
Yeah.
likes the chicks.
what about
I mean, I like
a
the
little Yuna?
Well, is this X or X2? Okay, which one is it?
Riku in my life. All right.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
What about you, Alex? What's your favorite RPG title?
I was gonna say Mario RPG.
Really,
Yeah,
Mario?
I was gonna say the next.
The Super NES one.
Same person.
Yeah.
Like
the
Legend of
Super
the
NES
Seven
one.
Stars?
Yeah.
That's a great game.
Why is
sure.
that?
It's just nostalgic for me, and I really loved that it was Nintendo and Square Soft at the time, that they worked together to create an awesome game. You know, it was you could spend a lot of time in the game. There's awesome side bosses to finish, and just extra weapons to find, and it was just really nostalgic for me.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Have you played it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring
it was
back
a really long time ago.
Bring back
yeah.
Mallow.
Mallow.
Make a game about Mallow. Damn
Fallout,
it.
to be honest. Do you mean Fallout 1, Chanslin? So Final Fantasy 15 and 13 trilogy, says Doug.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I did really like 15. I thought 15 was great.
Yeah.
I was engaged pretty much the whole time. The combat was awesome. 10 was my, Raven 1 says, 10 was my first. I hated RPGs before then, and yes, I fell in love with Yuna to the point that when her fate was revealed, I stopped playing so it wouldn't come to fruition.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe he fell in love a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
Fire Raptor, for story gameplay, and because I haven't finished the other ones, that came to mind. Fallout 3 is my fave. Okay, but you've been playing mainly 4. Gotcha. And 13 was your first RPG. So while researching this topic a little bit, I watched some extra credits because they're extremely intelligent. And if you guys haven't watched any extra credits videos, go to YouTube, type extra credits, and start learning about games. They talk about it at a conceptual level above anything that we will ever talk about.
All right.
But they're extremely intelligent. And one of the things that they pointed out was that genre is not so much a function of pieces. Like an RPG, for example, is not just going to be like progression. It's not so much the pieces of the game, its construct, its perspective, or its camera use or whatever. It's more of the feeling that it invokes, right? So Fallout 3 is considered an RPG and not a first-person shooter, although I would argue it is considered a hybrid of those two things.
Yeah.
But typically, if you were going to choose something for Fallout 3 to be, you'd probably say RPG.
Now, would you consider then, here's my question, would you consider Mega Man Legends an RPG?
So I would consider Mega Man Legends a platformer.
Have you played Mega Man Legends?
I'm thinking of Mega Man X. No, I've not played Mega Man Legends.
Oh,
You're talking about like on the 64 or on the PlayStation?
The PlayStation, Mega Man
Oh,
Legends,
okay.
the game where you have to like go through all the dungeons and collect stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that is an interesting concept, but I'm going to set that aside because we are going to be talking about the pieces, like the
Okay.
functionality of the game and stuff like
Cool.
that. So what I'm saying is that you could probably make a case for any of these for different games being an RPG. Like there are RPG elements in Battlefield and Call of Duty and things like that. Progression systems, leveling up, stuff like that.
New weapons, yeah.
Yeah. So we're piecing that sort of conceptual point aside, although I do like it. It may something we may visit later. But one of the things that I learned is that the RPG, Western
Mega Man
RPG as a
64.
genre, and JRPG as a genre is unique in that there is no other genre that we use geography to describe what type of game it is. We don't say it's a Western platformer or a JFPS game, right?
Right.
And this is another point that Extra Credits was making, which is why do we do this with RPGs? And the reason is because platformers originated in Japan and the US emulated that. First-person shooters originated in the US and a lot of Japanese games have emulated that. And there are other, developers and other locales around the world, but the two main places where games are developed are in Japan and the United States. So RPGs were developed about the same time in parallel. So they didn't really affect each other for a while. And so that's why we have sort of two distinct, like the Western RPG and the JRPG that exist as a genre.
Makes sense.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into a few things here, and I want you guys to tell me if you agree with this assessment or not, and then we can discuss a little bit.
All right.
Okay, so here's a few points comparing and contrasting Western RPGs with the JRPGs. And if you guys think of anything, your head hurts, is it because of me talking, or is it just in general game guy? Also, hey buddy. JRPGs are notorious for grinding. I was yes. Okay.
I would agree.
Thanks, pal. I would say that grinding exists in both. But you're probably right that grind exists. So we'll just start with Doug's there. There's more grinding in a Japanese RPG, in a JRPG, than Western RPG. Would you say that is the case? So, I'll give you some examples, first of all, to start with. Japanese RPGs being Final Fantasy, Tales of series, Kingdom Hearts is a JRPG. So Western RPGs, Skyrim and Oblivion, like the Elder Scrolls series, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, those are Western RPGs. Now, we're going to go a little bit further than JRPGs are made in Japan and Western RPGs are made in like the US and Canada and the UK. We're going to go a little further than that. You could strictly say that. It's a JRPG because it's an RPG made in Japan.
Right.
Yeah.
End of conversation.
And it's going to have everything that Japan puts into their games on those JRPGs. So.
But we're gonna dig a little further into that. So let's start with the grind. Would you say that in a Japanese RPG you grind more than in a Western RPG?
What type of music's playing?
That
was a joke.
Nobuo Uematsu.
That was a joke. Grinding. No.
Oh, are you talking about like thrusting against another human being?
Yes.
Good God.
It was a stretch. It was a stretch with a joke.
A bit of a stretch there, pal.
No, so I would 100% agree that Japanese RPGs are a lot grindier, especially like if you played the original Final Fantasy for the NES. Man, what a game that is, and how long it takes to play that fucking game.
Because you have to stop what you're doing to spend time just fighting mobs and leveling up.
You
right?
spend an hour on that goddamn boat just shipping around, like killing sea monsters just
and
to level
it's not
up.
Optional. You have to do it. There are times you have to do it.
Because you have to kill fucking everything. And if you're not strong enough, you're fucked. So, yes, and especially with that game at least.
Do you agreed then? Does that...
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, I would play Final Fantasy VII was one of my other favorite JRPGs. And I remember having to grind just to be able to make sure to get past. I can get past this shot or boss. I like to try to one-shot the boss.
And I'm not saying necessarily that grinding is necessarily bad. We actually did a show on grinding, on the grind in video games, and you know, when it works and when it doesn't, and stuff like that. So this isn't like a detrimental. This isn't a detriment to the genre.
No, not
just a point.
Yeah.
So in something like Skyrim or Mass Effect, you don't really stop and level up. I mean, you theoretically can.
You rob and pillage.
But you just sort of always go, right? You're just always side questing or doing something else, and there's no real sense of repetitiveness in the sense of grinding just for level, right?
Yeah, I feel that it's more so I guess about the weapons and the armor that you can find along the way, just adventuring around, and I think that's what is more with the Westerns is that it's more about adventure.
Like prime example, Western RPG that's been current. That's a great example. That would probably be Red Dead Redemption, right?
Would you consider Red Dead Redemption an RPG and not like an action game?
Well, yeah, because you level up and you level and you find like things do level up in that game for you. You get better at things and your horses like change and you get different diverse abilities because of the levels. So just depends on how you want to analyze that.
So it definitely has RPG elements in it. I don't know that I would consider it an RPG, but I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just
because I'm saying look at it in the same kind of way of Skyrim. That's why I was trying to use that as a comparison.
We can talk about, or we can say also Witcher. You know, Witcher I would say would definitely be a Western RPG.
Yeah, and not made in the U.S. So it's made in the Netherlands. Is it Finland? I don't remember where CD Projekt Red is from, but yes, So RDR has leveling systems in it, but not an RPG in that sense that people think of it. Gotcha. RDR is definitely more of an RPG than RDR1 was, though, says Doug. Interesting. Okay, so here's another point of compare and contrast. Western RPGs this isn't universal, tend to feature more realistic graphics, and JRPGs tend to feature more animated or colorful or fantastical graphics.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I would say that's kind of debatable, just depending on the game type. Right, so if they had the ability and the character to have done it back in the day, I'm pretty sure they would have made it more realistic. But if you look at some of the cutscenes of the cinematics originally from Final Fantasy VIII, for example, like I said, it's one of my favorites. But cinematics in the beginning, they got it close to as real as they could for a 32-bit system. So if they had the capabilities back then of what they do now, I would say it would be more realistic.
And to be fair, something like Final Fantasy 15 does look very real.
Right.
Like it has phenomenal graphics.
Right.
It's not really like stylized, hey Cass, good evening. Some JRPGs have more jiggle physics too. And this is sort of that exaggerative point that I was trying to make. Doug's focusing on the boobies, but the point being that things are more exaggerative, right?
They
The
do
hair,
have that kind of
the clothing, right?
bob that they do.
It's more subdued and realistic, even though like magic exists in Skyrim, right?
Right.
They tend to not have like spiky
Not-
hair,
not whimsical.
and it's not. Yes, there is exactly.
It is
the
less-
lack of whimsy.
It is more serious, is what you're saying. Just now they just have more aggressive hairstyles. I mean, I don't think that's a crime, but I mean,
No. These are not bad things. This
No.
isn't good
Right,
versus
right.
bad. Just pointing out here.
Yeah.
Cass, do you have a favorite RPG? If so, tell us what it is and why. Okay, next point. A Western RPG focuses on character customization, or tends to have more character customization, while a JRPG is more about party building. Another way to say this is that a Western RPG is more about a sense of being an individual, whereas a JRPG has a more of a sense of a community or a group,
a team.
a team.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I would definitely agree with that
So
statement.
what I would say is that with Western RPGs, whenever you're creating your character, it's like you're putting yourself into that game, and so I think it helps that player be more immersed into it and decide what actions you choose would reflect on what you would choose.
And
as a
you can
person.
also, on his point, you can also cosmetically make it. You want to make it look more like yourself to be that character in the game, or be your character that you have in every game. So instead, to immerse yourself more, I would totally agree that the Westerns can do that more than just having a pre-selected party of characters that's already been made that you are that are just coming to the party or going, just depending on.
Yeah.
Right, that makes sense.
I feel like I attach myself more to the JRPG characters because, like you're saying, they're already preset characters.
Do you find Western RPGs then to be more immersive generally than a JRPG?
It depends on the storyline. That would definitely go for the storyline, in my opinion, on there.
Hey, June, welcome.
Hello, June. What do you think on that, Steven?
The immersion
yeah.
thing? So I'm sort of two minds of this because, like, I'm thinking of something like Skyrim, which, like you said, is you create yourself. You are role-playing a character, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
You're creating something from scratch, and you are fulfilling a fantasy in that sense that you are, this is your avatar, right? Mm-hmm. You're not controlling Titus. You're controlling whatever character you've made and created that is you, essentially, right?
Right.
And this is something that Extra Credits points out as well, that Western RPGs tend to have that more of you pour your personal, into it than the JRPG. But I was probably less immersed in Skyrim, and I'm very hard on Skyrim. Like, I like it, but I didn't like it as much as like everybody else in the world did, right? So something like Final Fantasy X, while maybe I can't control what Titus looks like or customize him really in any way, I guess I could rename him. But then when they started voice acting, they were voice acted in 10, but when they started naming characters in Final Fantasy after that, you couldn't even really change that, I don't think. I think maybe you could. Anyway, but you could change his name in 10, but you couldn't change anybody else's name. And in past Final Fantasies, you could name the whole party, right?
Yeah.
All that to say that I was very immersed in 10 because I was sucked into the story and sucked into the narrative.
Right.
And, like, granted, it's just like watching a really good
Steven,
movie.
your mic is cutting in and out. I don't know if that's because you're turning your head or...
Could be any number of things.
Just so you know.
My mic is
Thank you for letting us know.
No,
We
thank you for the
appreciate
note. Hold on. Okay, let's try that.
Round 3.
And let me know. Okay, yeah, let me know how that goes. Maybe a battery thing. 4 or 5 hours is all I got to sleep. Ooh, June, you need more sleep than that. I would say get more sleep than that.
I got about 5 hours last night.
You'll be all right.
You'll be fine. So
Get
yeah,
some caffeine.
I was very immersed into like Final Fantasy X, but likewise I was very immersed into Mass Effect. But similarly, actually, Mass Effect is an example of it doesn't have, it has like more of a JRPG feel to it in the sense that it is telling sort of a story. Mm-hmm.
And you're following the story. You just have some options of how you want to treat certain things within that story.
Right. And something like Skyrim has a campaign to it, but most of what you do is creating your own story. You're exploring, you're seeing what's in there, you're,
That's right.
you know,
Yeah.
blasting people with your dragon breath into the water because they talked at you wrong.
Yeah.
Normal stuff.
That's right.
So, okay, yeah, actually, and this is sort of my next point. In a Western RPG, you tend to create the story, and in a JRPG, you are told a story. Is that fair?
I would say that's fair.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Do you have any memorable JRPG stories that you really love, like
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Tactics? Why did you love the story in Tactics?
Man, the story in Tactics is just so brutal. Like, everybody, wants to kill everybody, and everybody dies. It's just, so sick. And, it's just, emotional. Like, oh, man.
It's like Reservoir Dogs? Like everyone dies?
Everybody backstabs everybody.
Oh, Jesus.
It is a constant betrayal. If you're like, oh, you're my uncle, you're my friend, stab! I'm a demon. You're like, what?
You're like, I'd like to order a Sprite. And they're like, stab you in the back. And you're like, I just walked in here for a drink.
Yeah, pretty much. And you're like, oh, he's my friend. All of a sudden, he leaves the party with all the shit you just gave him. And you're like, oh no.
You piece of shit.
You're a piece of shit. I just decked you out because I thought you were my homie. And now he's like, see you later. And then he fights you in the next battle. And you're like, who the fuck are you? and he constantly fights you throughout the game. And you're like, nope. So every time I've replayed that game, I never equip him with shit anymore. I'm like, no,
I see what's coming. You ain't getting shit.
Yeah, you're getting the rusty sword. Yeah. So you get
Whole game.
That's fantastic. It's in that, JB says, it's in that regard that I prefer JRPG because I like to be told a story. Putting me in charge of the story on my own stresses me out.
Yeah, I like being told a story too. I'm with you, JB. I'm not trying to stress. I'm trying to enjoy the game that was written for me to enjoy.
That reminds me of Fallout, because there's so many decisions that you can make that's going to affect your gameplay throughout the game. If you kill this character or if you destroy this town, there's options that you have to weigh to figure out what way or which direction you're going to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be skewed because you want this really awesome weapon or you want this town. So most of the time I'm going to go for the weapon.
and I've Raven 1 says if I'm told a story it better be a good one. And I agree with that. Which is part of the reason why I like when we played I played Tales of the Abyss. I've played several Tales games. Tales of Symphonia was the one that came out on GameCube and it was fun. I didn't love it, but I liked that we could all play 4-player during the combat sequences. Okay. And then we went on to play Tales of the Abyss. And that was a 2-player one on PS2. And that game I fucking hated because the story was so bad, drawn out, and the acting was bad and just nonsensical, stupid, for 90 hours. And when I say 90 hours, I mean we just played the main campaign. We didn't grind. We didn't do a lot of side quests.
You didn't bump either?
We didn't, what?
Continue.
Bump and grind.
Did we bump and grind? Are you asking if Sam and I had sex with each other while we were playing Tales of the Abyss?
My joke goes on one ear and out the other one of this guy. He is ignoring my jokes today.
But it was so I hated that game because by the time it ended, I was like, "Fuck that!" It was 90 hours of fucking nothing. It was the only time I've played a co-op game that I wished I hadn't played that game.
So it was wasted.
It was a waste. But then we played Tales of Vesperia on 360, and that was awesome. That's a good story. The main character Yuri is fucking cool.
And the dog that he has.
Yeah.
That dog's pretty awesome.
There's this I guess mild spoilers for Vesperia in Act 1 of Vesperia.
I'll never
and this is it sort of turned what I was expecting about JRPGs on its head because you played Vesperia, I take it.
I haven't played it. I was actually just watching some video on it a couple of days ago.
So in Act 1 they get the first sort of main bad guy and you fight him. He's the boss battle at the end of the first act and they're like, we need to bring him back to town so he can stand trial. And Yuri's like, we need to fucking kill him because he's a bad guy. And they're like, no, that's wrong. Come on, let's bring him back. So they bring him back to town. He's like, all right, fine. Brings him back. He goes on trial. He gets off. The villain gets off. And so they're like, oh no, we're so down in the dumps because the system doesn't work. And Yuri's like, just go to bed, guys. We'll deal with it in the morning. While everyone's asleep, He sneaks out, finds him in an alley, and murders him in
Hell
cold blood.
yeah.
And I was like, that's the shit that I'm talking about. Like, this is the cool, like, character shit that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so I got really stoked about Vesperia because the characters are great and the story's solid.
I like when it has that kind of dark element
Yeah,
to it.
exactly. Because a lot of Tales games, and even to me, and maybe this is not fair, a lot of, at least the JRPGs that I've played, have had a more of a family-friendly-ish
Sunshine.
kind of mentality to it.
Yeah.
You know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, okay, Changeland says, I love both. I absolutely love wandering Fallout, Skyrim.
Yes.
And I could wander for days with no specific objective. That I could not do. So I respect you for that.
I love wandering around in Fallout.
You do?
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, that would
like,
be tough for me. I need
What
something
the
to
fuck
do.
am I doing? Why am I
here.
Why am I in the fucking field?
I like just wandering around and
I don't
like, oh, there's this cave. Let's go check it out.
Well,
and
yeah,
then
well,
it's
there's a
filled
difference
with
from
death claws.
exploring because you know it's there
Yeah.
versus I'm gonna wander in a fucking field.
Well, so something like Dark Souls, I love exploring in because you're like, oh, what the fuck is that? Like you come across like new enemies. The architecture is all different. All the areas are very different. Something like in Fallout or Skyrim, you know, like you said, it's sort of a big open world, and the world sort of all looks the same, right? So like Skyrim is all snowy mountains, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Fields and mountains, snow,
People.
forests, there's just people. You might come across a bear.
Fuck that bear.
Fuck that bear. Or don't.
Or don't fuck the bear.
You know, but as opposed, you know, so to me, that for me to properly want to explore in a game, just as sort of a side note, I need like a sense of wonder or mystery. And Oblivion did that a little bit because you could go into some of those dungeons, you know, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The crypts.
Yeah.
For me, I have to be attached to the character. Excuse me.
You're gonna make it?
No, I'm dying.
Oh, buddy.
I'd have to be more attached to the character to go exploring, to find like shit for the character. Like that's why you're saying in like Skyrim, you make the character. Like I don't feel as appealed to it as I do in a JRPG. I'm like, oh shit, we gotta find Cloud's big ass badass sword over here in the cave over yonder and fight this
like
big ass
doing that,
boss.
too.
And I'm like, oh, all right, well that makes sense.
Right.
Like, opposed to just I'm in a field. I'm killing monsters.
It's like you want to
gotta be a
find
point.
the special weapons or try to find the early weapons
Right,
when you
but
can.
you know there's a way to do it.
No,
and it's to
knowing
enhance-
those things are out there, like,
Right.
hey, there's some like cool shit out there if you go exploring. Oh shit, I'm gonna explore shit out of this place. I'm gonna look
That
under
helps
every
me.
rock. You know? Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. So, Divinity: Original Sin is also a great RPG.
Yeah.
Says Chanslin. Okay, so next point. This is sort of something that you guys mentioned as well. Western RPGs tend to feature more choice, whereas JRPGs are more on rails.
Very true.
In terms of like, you don't usually make decisions,
Right.
other than like what you equip and what armor you equip. But even then, you're not really making those decisions because you're going to equip the best stats,
Yeah.
right?
Always.
So is that fair? That there's more choice in a Western?
I'll say that's definitely fair choice. Fair thing to say. Fair choice.
Yeah. With like, I mean, back to like Skyrim or Fallout. I love Skyrim just because you can create such a weird character. You know, maxing out certain weapons and using that along with your already class that you made, and you can kind of mix it up however you'd like. Whereas with JRPGs, it's your class and then your weapons, and you can go to a general store and just buy the same weapon for everyone, or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like June's trolling me right now. Are we supposed to play Ark? No.
Hey, Griffin, you are.
Or Minecraft? No.
Hey, Griffin, we have a question for you.
Ark?
What is your favorite RPG? If you play RPGs, what is your favorite RPG and why? So yeah.
Yeah, let us know, Grippin.
So here, okay, let me know how you guys feel about this then. Western RPGs tend to feature real-time combat, whereas JRPGs tend to feature turn-based combat. And another way to say that would be that Western RPGs feature reaction as an attack, whereas JRPGs feature strategy, more strategic. Would you say?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree because if you're playing the Final Fantasy systems as well, 100% turn-based, and you could use certain spells versus certain characters, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you're bringing up in the Elder Scrolls games, you're kind of dodging attacks or running away and like attack, run away, or whatever you need to do to beat the boss, opposed to just sending out, magic and attack and letting the turn run itself through as characters possibly die.
Okay. And does that sound about right?
Yeah, I was gonna mention maybe, because I guess like Final Fantasy Tactics, and then the turn-based. Those are more so JRPGs. But then I was thinking about D&D and what you mentioned with Original Sin.
Mm-hmm.
Some games are very D&D-like as well. And
Okay.
you have a move action and a action.
Right. And so both RPG, like Western RPG video games and JRPG video games, are very much based on tabletop gaming, like prior to when video games existed. That was the sort of the system that inspired both of these RPGs, right? One of the things that Extra Credits points out is a lot of the companies that make JRPGs now started as visual novels. They started making visual novels, and that makes a lot of sense, right?
does.
Because
Yep.
that's sort of how the beats that JRPGs take is telling you the story, right?
Right.
Right.
As opposed to you fulfilling a story. And again, not a bad thing or anything like that, just pointing it out. Oh, Morrowind is gripping yarns, and Morrowind is awesome.
Yes.
Morrowind is that perfect, to me, a near perfect, like, open world with objectives. You can explore, and there's cool shit out there. The story's very good, but it's very like, if you are, you can beat the game in 20 minutes. If you, concoct your potion, fly to, you know where you're going, just go to the main boss and kill it. There you go. You did it.
GG.
But, experiencing the beats of the story, like that's all your choice, essentially, right? You can do this however you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Diablo mentions Chanslin. And, and Doug
For
says Spyro is his happy place. Everybody does have their, like, what's
Happy
the word?
place? Favorite game?
Yeah, but more nostalgia. That was what I was trying to find.
Yeah.
Okay, so one last point. Western RPGs, the narrative tends to be shorter, whereas JRPGs, the narrative tends to be longer and feature cutscenes.
Right.
There's not really any cutscenes. There are cutscenes in Mass Effect. There's cutscenes in Dragon Age. There's no cutscenes in Skyrim.
No.
Right?
Nope.
You
are living the action.
Right. So, but also in terms of just the narrative, though, they tend to be pretty, like, if you started Skyrim and you just did main quests, you'd probably get through that pretty quick. Right?
Yeah.
12 hours or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas even like a short JRPG is like a 30-hour, like, narrative, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's fair to say as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is something else that I wanted to touch on, because then I'm going to ask you guys overall, what do you think you prefer? So start thinking about that.
Okay.
Like which one of these two genres you prefer. Extra Credit suggests that a Western RPG could come out of Japan and vice versa, meaning that now we use Western RPG to mean these sort of things, like the tenets that we have gone over
Right.
today. And
As
JRPG, whereas originally may have just been an RPG that came out of Japan, you could have a Western RPG come out of Japan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they Extra Credit suggests that Dark Souls, while made in Japan, is a Western RPG because it's real-time combat. There's exploration. You're creating your character, customizing it. A lot of the things that we've talked about, more realistic graphics, less fantastical in terms of, exaggerated anything. So do you feel that is the case, or do you think that it really does come down to just where it is made?
I would go ahead.
No, yeah, I think you're right. It's I guess it's just the style and what's put into the game would, I guess, determine if it's Western or Eastern.
I think I kind of disagree.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if it does come from Japan, I'm going to say it's going to be coming from Japan. Because at the same time, they're just both using the same style of game, just coming from different elements. So if you want to consider that, you could just call them RPGs.
Sure.
Without even putting a Western or Eastern on it anyways. Now, did the as you stated, with the turn-based starting originally with the Final Fantasies on the NES coming from there, and having the game developers are here, was it inspired? Sure. But I would say if it's coming from Japan, you can't take that away from it.
Camden says that Calvin has the weakest knees I ever did see.
Thank you.
I think that they're strong knees. They're strong strapping knees.
Thank you.
They'll come down on Cal's knees.
He's a waiter, man. He's
Oh yeah.
I got some.
He's got the
got
thighs.
strong.
He's got the knees. He's got the calves.
I got calves too.
Cal calves.
That's right.
By the way, if you guys haven't, go to calcalves.com and you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
so-
That's the thing.
Fable lands in RPG territory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
That would be Western RPG, I would say.
Yes.
So, but you're saying in terms of JRPG and Western RPG that if it is still geographical for you. Even
little
if
bit,
it
yeah.
contains elements of maybe things that typically
Because
have
they
been
learn
Western,
from each other.
It's still Dark Souls is still a JRPG too. You would describe it as JRPG.
I would just say it's an RPG.
You would just say it's an RPG.
Yeah, because I wouldn't specify it as much because that takes away from it. It's a game. I mean, there's cookie cutter options of what the type game is going to be. So why put a label on it?
Right. Yeah.
True enough.
And you know, as technology progresses and as games grow up, you know, it is less cut and dry. There's a lot of elements from a lot of different games that sort of seep in, you know, the progression systems in Call of Duty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we do still have, you know, descriptors to try to explain, you know, how a game functions or what you can get out of a game is what some people would say.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys then, what is your preference between the Western RPG and the JRPG style? And you guys in chat, I would like to know yours as well.
You go first.
I would say I'm a big fan of the JRPGs.
Really?
I mean, nostalgic. Just friend. I'm not a fan of Skyrim. I'm not into the games like Skyrim. It's not my favorite type of game, or any of the Elder Scrolls game, or even the Fallout games. I just don't enjoy exploring. That's just not my style. I like the JRPG elements personally.
Perfect.
I like turn-based and
That's cool.
everything.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
I like Western RPGs. I like
You're
the
a big
adventure.
Kingdom Hearts fan, though, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely love JRPGs.
Not to say that you can't love both. You know,
Sure.
I'm making you choose a preference here. So, go
But
ahead.
if I'm choosing, I would choose Western. I love the adventure. I love Fallout, Skyrim, Witcher 3, just being able to explore the land and, you know, running into random caves.
Witcher 3 is really fucking good, though.
Witcher 3 is amazing.
Have you played Witcher 3, Cal?
I have not.
think
It's
you'd
also
dig
an
it.
exploring kind of like.
No, but there's always an objective.
It's-
Like,
Okay,
you're
so
not.
there's an actual just
Yes,
objective.
Yeah.
you're always doing stuff.
It's worth the exploration.
Yeah,
They
I think
reward
you'd
you
like
for
it.
exploring. Exploring.
yeah. June, tone it down, please. Raven 1, what elements, Cal? According to you, no elements make a JRPG only. Or so if you're saying that, you know, it just came out of Japan. I think what Cal was saying was that if it comes out of Japan, it may tend to have these styles, but he wouldn't call if an RPG was made in the U.S., right,
Right.
and it was a cut and like a cookie cutter version of Final Fantasy with different characters and its own story, but the same combat system and the same yada yada yada, you would not call that a JRPG.
Right.
Which is what I was saying, was that you could still call it a JRPG even though it came from the
I
U.S.
know.
because it would follow those things. But yeah, so I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think I'm following you. You should beat Witcher 3, Doug. Also, real quick, JV says he just realized that pulling a pacifier out of an infant's mouth and hoping they don't wake up is tantamount to pulling the pin on a grenade and hoping it doesn't explode.
Wow.
So for me, I think that this is hard for me because, like I said, I'm not like a huge fan of Skyrim, but I did love Mass Effect. I love Dragon Age. I think that if I'm going to choose between one of the two, it'll probably be Western RPGs because, and I hate to say this, but Tales of the Abyss really fucking broke me. It was like every worst aspect is everything I don't like about JRPGs stacked together and made me do it for 90 hours. It really made me. But there's some that I
repetitive.
really want to play, like Nier Automata.
Yes,
I really
that's a
want to
good
play.
one.
I hear that's good.
Really good.
And welcome for following us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, hold on. I see the
See, it's
Rutledge. CG Rutledge.
yes.
Yeah.
Should we dance?
I think I got it. Do you want to do a follow dance?
Should we dance?
You can do
We
a follow
can,
dance.
we can do a dance.
We have the wireless mics today.
We have a dance. Oh, you guys.
Person.
Yes.
So we've
You
literally
guys are
never done that
ridiculous.
before. That's just for you.
Yeah, that's just for you, buddy. that is just for you, Rutledge.
Not a thing we do. So
No, well,
don't expect us to do it again.
Well, we can do it now since we have wireless.
we can do
We
it.
can. We do impromptu.
Yeah, we
Depending
can
on
do
the
it every
time.
now and again. Just
Yeah.
for whatever.
Yeah, why not?
Whatever you feel
Yeah,
like.
sure. Yeah.
But he doesn't like that RPG, so he doesn't prefer JRPGs. It's okay. Raven one's not gonna. It's a weird day when I feel like I understand you, Cal. It's a weird day. And Chanson loves both for different reasons. I just have specific things in games that I don't like grinding. So pretty much any grind for Chans, and you're sick of it.
Right. You have to just know what you're getting into.
So,
thank you, Raven. Sub and see what they do next.
one of the things. Sub and see what they do.
Thanks, buddy. That's right.
Oh yeah, we'll do
Do a push-up competition.
Cal do push-ups. We'll have him make him do one for every month you subscribe.
All right. I mean, sure. Why not?
So okay, one of the things that we do now in our new season 3 of the Gutter Nerds podcast, is our subscribers and the Gutter Nerds that aren't literally in studio can now submit videos with their thoughts and impressions and reactions to things.
Right.
So we're going to go to our sub video for the week. We had one submission this week, and I will tell you guys about how to make submissions for next week after the video.
Can we just intro it sub video of the week?
Yeah. Do it.
Yeah.
Right now.
I don't know who's by.
Just go sub video of the week. That's it. Or look over there and say sub video of the week. Oh wait, hold on.
I can't do anything.
Master Charles is reading. Hey, Master Charles.
Hello, Master Charles.
How's it going? Timespinner.mc. Why Wolf? Welcome, guys. We're talking about JRPGs and Western RPGs, and we just sort of finished our 45-minute rundown of the differences between the two and what you prefer. So I will ask you guys, since you just got here. Hey, Ferret. What's up, buddy? Do you prefer, I know you guys weren't here for the whole conversation, but do you prefer Western RPGs or JRPGs, and why? And while you're doing that, let's go to the
video of the week.
Hey Gutter Nerds, it's Oni. For my question, and for my opinion on the topic, I tend to lean towards JRPGs. While I love games like Skyrim and Mass Effect, for me, what's really important to a JRPG is that good old turn-based combat, and also the ability to kind of befriend certain characters or have that kind of social aspect, or just be able to pick your party in general. So my question to you would be, is there anything for you that makes or breaks what a good RPG should be, and is that the thing that sways your decision on whether or not you prefer Western or JRPGs? Take care, guys.
Okay, thank you, Oni, so much for that submission. And her question to us was, she had a question for us. So what can break or ruin or destroy an RPG for you? I think I know Chans's. Hey, Ishni, what's up?
Go for it, bud.
I mean, I would have to agree. The story is very important. Just like Nier Automaton, I started playing that a while back, and I got really drawn into that game just because the story was so interesting to me. And yeah, if I'm not interested, I'm not gonna want to continue playing the game. And
that's tough though, because you may not know. Well, maybe you do, but I may not know whether or not I like a story or not until late in the game, right? It's okay, we're building. Where are you going?
So
where are you going?
You're hoping that it builds up.
Well, that sucks. You know what I mean? Get to the point where you go, well, that sucks, and you put 40 hours into the game.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Yeah, story is, I was going to say, is also, he kind of read my mind, but story is it's a deal breaker for the most part. If you get into a game all of a sudden, it just sucks. You're like, I just wasted, as you said, 90 hours in the game.
Right.
You feel unfulfilled in playing something because of it.
I think for me, the thing that can break a game is probably close to what Chanslin said. Hey, Spooch, thank you for the follow. We appreciate it. Spooch PGs has followed. Raven said do the dance, but
we don't dance on command.
Dance on command.
Dance on command. Yeah, see, we're not monkeys over here. We don't dance on command.
Cal's mic is cutting out now. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Maybe you danced too hard.
We'll figure that out.
That's good.
Say something again, Cal.
Hello.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Maybe we'll figure out this thing. I don't know why they're doing that, but.
What's a deal breaker?
So, Y-Wolf says, I'm a sucker for Western RPGs personally. The whole JRPG formula, for me, feels so samey from game to game that it feels like something the story needs to overcome to grab me. Okay. So you were saying story, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and Y-Wolf, you're saying that the I demand the dance! We'll just do a little Yeah. Hey, there you go.
There you go.
There
You
it
get
is.
you get dance light version.
You can dance light.
Dance light.
We'll be nice, but also you don't tell us what to do.
Tell me how to live.
You tell me about my life. I don't want your life. So to me, I think it's grind. So that can really break or destroy an RPG. If I feel like I can't just progress through the story and side quests, or even learn so like in
What
Dark
about
Souls-
combat? Yeah, what is,
in
I was
Dark
about to say,
Souls,
what is
if I
combat?
can get better
system?
myself at the combat, like, oh, okay, I sucked that up. I'll have to get better at that. But if it is literally like, you're not high enough level to fight this thing, period. Go off and just go wander around the wasteland
And
until
kill
you're
some squirrels
grown up
until
enough.
you get
Then I'm
strong
like,
enough.
well, fuck you. Recore did that, right? So Recore is actually sort of a Metroidvania, sort of ish kind of a game.
Yeah.
And it's like, here are the main dungeons that you have to do to finish the game. And then you do a main dungeon, and then you go to the next main dungeon, and it's like, oh, you need a certain number of cores to access the main dungeon. You get the cores by going and doing the side dungeons. But you have to do a lot of side dungeons. And I was like, oh, fuck you.
It's just a pain in the
Just
keister.
don't, let me do the shit. Like, don't make me, if I want to choose to be able to do the side shit or not. Bro, can someone tell me what those sweet kicks are Cal is wearing? I want to know these sweet kicks.
Just ASICs, buddy. Just
Oh, it's not your PlayStation shoes?
no, it's not my PlayStation.
Do you have your PlayStation shoes in a closet, like pristine, like?
in the box? Yeah.
They're in the box?
Yeah,
Airtight.
gotta keep them on ice, bro.
Why don't you? When do you bring them out?
You win?
When do you bring them out?
Probably at like conventions and stuff, dude.
Your wedding?
Yeah, my wedding.
These are my wedding shoes.
These are my wedding shoes. Yeah.
Stories get me good. Oh, grindy games kind of turn me
Yeah.
off here. Like, yeah, same for me. I don't have a certain amount of time. Only have so much time. Mass Effect, Yakuza, Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles was a good JRPG. That's, and I'm not saying the way I said that was bad. I don't mean JRPGs are bad. But Xenoblade Chronicles is one that I really liked.
It's captivating.
But also got to a point where I was like, literally, I don't think I'm leveled up enough to do this. And I'm at a point where going back and grinding isn't really an option because some games, like Final Fantasy VIII, when you get to Ultimisia's Castle, you are cut off from the rest of the game. This is endgame now. You can't go back and grind. So if you're not leveled up enough, you can go fuck yourself.
Well, or you can just go to your cards and get all the ultimate spells and revives. And,
Shut up. No, there was no other way to do it.
Oh, no, you're right. No other way to, like, triple triad came into play.
The JRPG grind and rotation planning just feels so mechanical and separates you from the story for however long, whereas stuff like Dragon Age or Skyrim will full well let you wander into the death trap and not immediately concede that it's mathematically impossible to win.
Yes, that's what I like.
So, but something like, Dark Souls, which has, maybe you won't describe it as an RPG, but for the sake of today, I will. If I go in and I'm like, wow, they kicked the shit out of me, I can go grind and come back a little bit more powerful, but I can also just learn them. I can also just...
You can get good? Yeah, you can get good in those people.
Yeah, I loved that in Witcher 3. I would always go up against enemies that are way higher level. They're just red. And I'm just like, all right, let's get this.
I'm gonna get you, and I can, and you can get them.
Yeah.
By the way, real quick side note, I recommend if you guys do play Witcher 3, play it on the hardest difficulty level. The reason is because if you don't, it's very hack and slashy, like attack, 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 attack. But if you play it on hard, you have to think about your positioning, what enemies are behind you, where they are, who's shooting at you, what abilities you have equipped. It's still like real-time combat reactive,
strategy.
but you got to think about your shit, and it really shines on hard. If Dark Souls is an RPG, does that make Saints Row an RPG?
Oh, God.
Yes, it does. Says Faratanium. I think that the later Saints Row, you have a very strong argument for it being an RPG.
You do.
I think you have a strong argument, for sure. I recommend playing everything on the hardest mode first, because it feels less like the game hates me, and more like, I just suck, so I get way less frustrated and learn way faster. Well, this is hard, but I did tell it to be hard.
Yeah.
So it's
I wanted to kick my ass.
not me. Yeah. Okay, so one of the last things that we do before we call it a night, and I forgot to do this in episode 1.
I was going to say, we haven't done this in a
We
while.
haven't done the fan can since 2018.
Yeah.
So it's time to go to the can. If you guys want to add questions to the fan can, these are basically just ask me anything questions, and we're going to screen it for like hateful, awful, terrible shit. But other than that, you can pretty much put whatever question you want in here, and we'll answer.
Nothing wrong with this flannel, by the way. Camden.
That's very slick flannel. I
it's
like that.
very warm.
That's a very
I
Steve-O shirt.
That's very...
There's very little
I
that
appreciate
you
this
wear
flannel.
that I would describe as Steve-O-ish.
This-
And that's a very Steve-O-ish.
You're saying I'm just like pulled it out of your closet type deal?
Right.
I-
Yeah, like you could have pulled it out of my closet.
This is mine.
Did you literally pull it out of my closet?
No, I've not. Not yet.
I'm gonna let Alex read that one, and then I'll read a second
Alright.
one before we call it a night here. Oh, shit! No, well, we'll do this.
Okay.
I just gotta remember.
All right. Well, the question is, when you're gonna put a ring on it?
Oh, I did.
Good, Jared.
What about you guys? When are you guys gonna put a ring on it?
You know, when the right person comes along,
Comes around, yeah.
Okay.
you know, gotta be in a relationship first to, you know, even attempt that.
You know?
No?
Nah.
Just go pick up a
Just
girl.
get a rando?
Yeah.
Like a betrothed?
Yeah.
Just tell them that?
Yeah.
Order wives.
You are
order
my
one.
betrothed. Here's
Listen.
the ring. Listen.
Listen, this ring is dope as shit. You want it?
You want this? It is for you.
So like 3 weeks. Bronze, can we talk about how hard Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak was?
We totally can.
I know literally nothing about Hamtaro.
Hamtaro, we can get Bree in here for Hamtaro.
We might need Bree.
Well, we'll get Bree for some Hamtaro talk, bro. She's got you. I guarantee it.
I engraved Filthy Casual on it. Yes, you would. You would engrave Filthy Casual on a ring. That's good. Okay, here's a question. Potato salad or coleslaw?
Oh man, potato salad.
Coleslaw.
Fucking potato salad all day, and you can have hot or cold potato salad. You can have mustard potato salad. You have so many fucking options.
Okay. And why the coleslaw then, Alex?
I like the sweet. I don't know. Tastes good.
Yeah.
I mean, I like coleslaw too, but like, man, potatoes.
Okay, so
Who doesn't like fucking potatoes?
Oh god, Brie for Hamtaro would be hysterical. Hey, Pool Brie, welcome in. I'll let you throw in last minute here. Do you prefer Western RPGs or JRPGs, and why? For me, I'm gonna go coleslaw, and
Fuck
I
you,
think it's
Steven.
because
Get outta
I
here.
like the consistency. Like it's got a little bit of crunch to it. But boy, it's really easy to fuck up coleslaw.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's really easy to have some shitty coleslaw.
Raisin
right?
Cane's got some good coleslaw.
They do. I
Raisin
like theirs.
Cane's. I think I always just get more toast because I'm a fatty.
Get the coleslaw.
Can you get that cabbagey shit out of my face?
I
and
need
give
some
me
extra
bread?
toast.
I need bread. Did KFC have decent coleslaw?
Get that mayo
they
boo boo
did.
out of here.
Oh,
Oh,
like, here's the
God.
thing with potato salad. I've had good potato salad too, but it feels like someone like threw up and then put it in the fridge because it's like slimy.
Well,
and
have you had
chunky.
hot potato salad?
No.
See, you need to have German potato salad. They do like a hot potato salad. It's
Yeah.
really good. You might like that.
Okay. I have had good potato salad. I just want it to not look, smell, or taste like barf. That's really all I ask. So there we go.
I see. You guys have cookout.
I love potatoes too much to ruin them in a potato salad. Says Chance. MC says you guys have cookout. Their coleslaw, the cookout style, and the chili dog is best. I do not think we have cookout here.
I don't think we do either. And Raven won. We don't know yet his answer to that question.
What did he ask?
He said, "What is wrong with
What
you,
is wrong
Cal?" I
with
said,
you,
"We
Cal?"
don't. We're still trying to figure that one out. We've been trying to work on that one for years, buddy. I thought you knew that. We don't know.
Ishnu says neither. Macaroni salad.
Macaroni
over both.
salad. Oh God. No.
No.
Ferret says
Just not-
coleslaw is good for the family recipe. Pasta salad takes the crown, says Ishnu.
No.
Baked mac and cheese.
Okay, there we go.
Now we're
Let's
just going
go
to
with mac and
sides.
cheese.
Now we're just going to fucking sides.
Just give me
Here.
mac and
So
cheese
what do you
instead.
like at your barbecue? Okay,
Baked
Alex?
mac and
Baked
cheese.
mac and cheese. All
Throw
right.
in some brisket, some smoked brisket into that mac
Oh,
and cheese,
yeah.
and there you go.
Oh, man.
Full circle.
Full
circle.
Yeah. I've literally never had anything like potato macaroni or egg salad. Texture and smell is just ugh to me. You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Wildwolf. Guys, next week, we're going to be talking about, here's the question for you. What franchise needs to die?
Ooh,
So
that's a big ask.
those of you that would like to submit
would
a
like
video for like Ani did earlier, if you're a subscriber, just record yourself with your webcam, with your phone, whatever, answering the question, what franchise needs to die and why? And if we choose to air it, I get to choose not to air it for whatever reason I like. If we do choose to air it, then we will air it on the podcast in a group. So, well, I guess game. What video game franchise needs to die? That's the focus. If you feel super passionate about movie or something else, that's cool. I may let that.
You're gonna
slide.
go like all
But
Fast
I'm
and
gonna
Furious
focus
on me?
game. Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs
Ready
and
for
Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw?
Hobbs and Shaw, the spinoff. Because they want to make lots of money.
Right. It doesn't look. It looks like fun.
I'm gonna watch it anyway. I'm gonna watch it.
It's just a fun action.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you next week for that podcast. And our next stream is going to be Wednesday for Apex Legends. So join us for that.
I wish that was cross stream because I'd probably play it with you.
I'm hoping. I'm holding out hope.
So I'll play that one with you.
What are you
I'm
playing
on
on?
PC.
PC?
Me, Xbox One.
Xbox One.
Okay.
The
I got
No, you don't have to say Xbox One like that.
I play on Xbox One.
But we'll see you guys next week. Oh, if you are in our Discord, then you can submit videos. You can ask me how to submit videos. And you can also email them to gutternerds@gmail.com. We'll prioritize subscribers first. And that's the way it is. So my name is Steve-O.
Calvin.
I'm Alex.
And we'll see you guys next time.